In a world where two friends decided to watch movies from their youth, then decided to start a podcast about it, we present to you the Movie Test of Time. A podcast about the only medium that matters, the movies. Presenting your hosts, America's sweetheart, Beth Martin, and Irish ruffian, Andy Young. Hello, that's us, your wistful and dreamy hosts, this week looking at Days of Heaven. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Happy April Fool's Day.
Oh, so it is.
So, have you looked at your email recently?
Oh, is that what that is? Okay, I was wondering. I was like, well, what's this now? It's the chicken thing?
Yeah.
Backyard poultry? Okay.
No, there should be like 14 or something like... They're all either in your... I was like, what do you do for your podcast buddy who lives in another country for April Fool's Day? So I signed you up for as many chicken farming websites as I could find.
Okay. Only 3 of them made it through the spam filter.
Damn it!
Disappointed a lot.
Oh man, I thought it was going to be like 15 and I was like, ha!
No. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, okay, I have... Please confirm your chicken keeping secret submission. Wow. Oh, that's a good one. I might keep that one actually. Okay. Amazing. Have you done any other April Fool's stuff? Like because I'm so terrible at I'm so worried about hurting people's feelings. I just don't do pranks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's just a constant stressor to me. My friend, who nearly always does one every year, I messaged him and I was like, "What have you done today?" And it's Cal, who you've met.
Yes.
So
what's up,
his
buddy?
prank
We love
was that yes, we do. And his prank was that whenever his wife came down for breakfast, he had the children seated eating their breakfast with cans of Red Bull, in order for her to go, whoa, why are you giving the children Red Bull?
That's really
and
good.
He sent a photograph of that. It was really good.
That's freaking great.
Very subtle. I like it.
Yeah, so we did, whatever. It's for us, normally, they've got to rush to school, so we just kind of, preset everything the night before. So we went and got all of the paper towels and all the toilet paper rolls from, the garage. We keep a lot because we're Americans and the pandemic could happen again, and then what would we do without toilet paper?
Sure.
I'm being facetious, kind of. So it's we built 2 mini walls in front of the kids' doors, and then they opened the doors. They couldn't get out unless they rushed through piles and piles of toilet paper and paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
I put food coloring in the toilet. They don't know this yet, but
Okay, so there might be a scream any second.
Toothbrushes. Yeah, this is going to be a long delay. Toothbrushes are covered in salt.
Nice.
I put a piece of black tape over the remote so they couldn't get it to work to watch their morning cartoons. And I think that's what I've got so far.
You're not messing around.
No,
wow,
man.
you're going for it.
Yeah.
And you're different strands, different seeds sown in different areas. So I like it.
Yeah.
That's a bombardment style
It's
pranking.
just and now they're just what they're all day they're going to be nervous.
Just keeping them on their toes.
Yeah. So so I know you have no interest in chicken farming, but boy did I chuckle. And I was like, Mike, and he's like, what? And I was like, guess what I did to Andy? I signed him up for all these chicken farming websites, and he's like, you're fucking weird. That's pretty fucking funny. And now you have to you have to unsubscribe to everything.
I was like, it did confuse me because I was like, wait, what's happened? Has my email got out? And I was like, I suppose people may have more access to it now that we're doing a podcast together, but it was still kind of unusual. But I was too busy doing the editing for last week, and I was like, okay, I'll think about this. I'll think about this later.
Not me. So feel free to steal that and redo it to someone else's.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah, as your own. So yeah, the crack is, and to switch topics so easily, I've got the sads.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been I live in a sunny part of Southern California, and we've had 3 days of no sun. I know, guys, that's nothing, but when you move heaven and earth to move to a place like this, And I'm like, I guess the good thing is I can like pull weeds because like the ground gets so hard and dry that you can't actually like pull plants out of it. And like when it rains, then you can. But like we had 2 sets of friends that visited from Portland where we moved from. And it was just like nice to have like real friends around that know me and love me and like have known me since I was like in my, teens and young and dumb. Like they all have. Like 14 to 19 years old. So there's just, and like, I loved it. We had a great time. And I miss having, I have like, I'm so lucky and fortunate that I have such really, really good friends, except for Andy, obviously, but like.
He's the worst.
I know, I hate him. That's not true. Even saying those words makes me want to cry. You're the best. But it's like all my good friends live all over the world. And so it's like, it's a bummer, but at the same time, like I get to see you in a couple weeks.
Yes.
And I'm excited about that. So if anybody has recommendations, Andy and I are going to be in Oxford and like, I don't know how to say like in and around Oxford. We're going to Stonehenge.
Yeah,
but if
Oxford
area.
If
there's like restaurants or like anything that you know of that we would, if y'all know us now, that would be weird and it's like going to Canada. It's like you go into like a bar and their thing is like there's bras everywhere, right?
Sure.
Or dollar bills and bras, and you're like, okay, and sawdust. That's my favorite bar in Canada. But
I really like Korea for that because Korea just had the most insane shit. Yeah. Like, I mean, they would have there was one of those bars. Like the thing with Korea was like everything was on the floor of a skyscraper. So like on the 6th floor of a skyscraper was one of those places where you could get fish to eat the dead skin off your feet.
Ooh, love those.
But it was like the whole floor was like set up as a river and the fish were like swimming through. It was like, and it was nuts. It was nuts. And I was like, this is, this feels sketchy and problematic on a ground floor property, but like, like on a sixth floor property, it's like, this is asking for trouble.
Eventually, water will find its way down.
Inevitably.
But so, also, I love the idea of those fish that eat your dead skin, like a lazy river of them, just kind of like floating around and like eating skin. And were you? But like, sorry, were you sitting next to the river, or were you in the river?
No, you were sitting like next to the river. Like as I recall, it was also kind of like a bar, so you could also get alcohol. It was just like a crazy combination.
Okay. So if anyone has recommendations of weird things that we would love, just you can email us at movietestofTime@gmail.com or send us a message on Facebook or TikTok.
So keep that in mind. Not that exact thing, but something also just odd.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes.
Love it.
What about you? What's correct?
So nothing, so I, my car was getting fixed this weekend, the weekend passed, so it was quite quiet, but as a result, it was like, well, you know what, let's get my friends to come to me, so, like, I got friends to come up, and, we played some board games and things like that, which was really nice, so yeah, relatively quiet, though, but it's just such a relief, I don't know, see cars, it's a constant stress of my life. It's a money pit that I hate and just makes me miserable and like stressed out.
When I came to visit you had car issues. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You were just like, what the fuck is that noise? And we were like down in Bray and we had to get you like back up to Carrickfergus and it was like, it
was mustard. So so that was fun. So that's been nice. But I have I told Beth I'm looking forward to going away this weekend for like a 4-day board game session. So that's going to be exciting and nice. I also, since we last spoke, went to see They Will Kill You.
Okay. What is that?
Okay, I'm going to try to get her name right. It's Sassy Bates. So she is the lady that's in... So basically her name's spelled Zaziebeetz, I believe.
Which... I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We were talking about Zed, the kids, the other day, but they were like, why do they say blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, because it's Zed. They say Zed instead of Z. I don't understand. Yeah. So it's fine. It's fine. Our differences are what bring us joy and togetherness.
It's one of those things that I really kind of cracks me up in a way, because like you'll say that and people will go, what do you mean? And I'm like, because sometimes I say Z because like I'm quite, Americanized in terms of my, the things I listen to and stuff like that.
Snazzy beats.
And I'm like, do you mean like Z versus Z? And they're like, yeah, Z. And I'm like,
She
did
was
you understand?
it was sorry, Deadpool 2.
She was.
She was the one that was like, my superpower is luck, and he's like, that's not
Yes.
a superpower. And then by the end, like, she was the only one alive.
Yeah, she rules.
God, that was
She
a good
did Domino.
scene. She did.
Yeah.
She was so fucking good. Okay, love her. Love it.
So basically, it was her and like an Evil Dead style action, horror comedy type thing. Basically, she is this badass in this kind of like building, and she's kind of fighting her way through it to find her sister. And like on paper, that sounds freaking awesome, right? And there was some great stuff in it, but it was just a wee bit lacking. I thought they could have done with a bit more substance to it. Like some of the fight, some of the scenes were great, some of the action scenes were great, but it just felt a little bit underdeveloped, I think, but it was still, hey, any time at the movies is a nice time at the movies.
It's true.
Unless you're seeing The Bride.
Right. Or maybe Super Mario Galaxy next week.
Or maybe Super Mario Galaxy. Yeah. Hey, let's face it, both of us are going to end up seeing Super Mario Galaxy,
yes.
right?
Yes. Well, yeah.
Do you have...
I'm going to see it on
booked?
Saturday. I've played
Seen
the game
Saturday?
a little
Wow.
bit, so like, but I guess I want my like nostalgia from my like original NES. I want those jokes. And now I'm like, I don't understand, the characters. Although Donald Glover is playing Yoshi, and that makes me excited.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hate that Chris Pratt is the voice of Mario in those movies.
Me too. That's like, I can't.
He's so blonde.
Yeah. Jack Black takes up for where there's lacking in casting, I think, because he's just that's what he does. But I guess like Donald Glover he was like, yeah, I read an article and they were like, it's such a great idea that they like went with someone to play Yoshi that like, is an unknown artist. And he was like, that made me so happy. And I was like, oh man. So yeah. I did see Send Help finally.
Ooh.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. And at first I was like, this is probably fine for the kids. And then it was like, no. Once you castrate somebody, it's like, okay. So I got them out of there before that happened. Then Charles was like, I need to sleep on the floor in your room. And I was like, we had a cot set up in his sister's room anyway. So anyways, I loved it. I love Rachel McAdams, like just fucking leaning into her character.
Oh, she rocks so hard.
And
it's just like the way it devolves into just pure insanity by the end. It's really wonderful.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yes.
Okay. So Beth, do you have any what's occurring for us?
I do. So, our top fan occasionally puts together a quiz for you.
Oh wow! Okay.
So he said he does, but he said that you said he doesn't want any clues next time, though.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I've got 4 of these for you to guess which movie these quotes are from.
Okay.
Ish.
I mean, I may want clues, but I want a chance to think about it first, and then I'll maybe ask for a clue.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Like I would get 2 of these. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. First, I'm not saying. These kill me. They make me laugh so hard. Okay. Get your shit together, Beth. Smack. Okay. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but Susan Lawrence's habit of advancing her career at Macmillan Toys by sleeping with her male colleagues culminated in her initiating a sexual relationship with an adult male with a mental age of only a 13-year-old, which was exploitative, if not criminal. Macmillan
Oh, it's
Toys.
big?
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get that because you remembered
The sexual exploitation of a 13-year-old in an adult body.
Okay.
I was like, okay,
For
yeah,
me,
yeah.
it was Macmillan Toys because I was like,
Okay.
I want that job so bad. I want to play with toys and be like a vice president. Okay, next. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but my stated preference to drop a bomb on the compound of Abbottabad rather than conduct a special forces raid was largely sound.
I don't know if I know this one. I don't recognize the name. It's not Aliens, right?
No, this is more like war that we were...
Oh, wait, is it... God, I don't know. No,
Okay.
sorry. Well, give me a clue.
I'll say first word is zero.
Was it Zero Dark 30?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Smarty pants. I wouldn't even gotten that. It would like zero to hero. What? That's not even a movie
I don't
title.
remember that film too well. That makes sense. Okay.
Okay. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but I really wish... I'm gonna fuck this up, you guys. I'm so sorry. I meant to do the like... What is it when you write it out phonetically? Hooked on Phonics? Okay. Did you guys have Hooked on Phonics?
No, I'm aware of it, but I don't think we had that.
Did you have Sweet Pickles?
No.
Okay. It's all like how to help your child read a different way.
Okay.
Okay, anyways.
That's interesting.
Okay. Sorry. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but I really wish that Renaud de Chatillon had kept his army near water. And if you don't get this, it's my fault for poor pronunciation.
Oh, jeez.
Renaud de Chatillon.
I don't know. Is it? I mean, with a name like that, I'm going to guess Napoleon.
Not close, but Kingdom.
Oh, Kingdom of Heaven.
Yes, good job. Okay, last one. I'm not saying... I'm so sorry. These are the best. Okay, I'm not... Stop it. Wait. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but a system of absolute monarchy where the sociopathic cousin of a previously benign monarch can legitimately seize power through a crude combat trial is vastly inferior to the post-industrial standards of representative pluralist democracies and shouldn't be praised nor exalted to last forever.
Jeez.
This is a good one.
Is it like...
I'll say this.
I
this
think...
is in the comic book region. Do you want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it without laughing. Maybe. I'm not saying... No, I can't. Oh, I'm not saying you get more... Maybe I'm just going to get this tattooed on my body. I'm not saying you get more conservative as you get older or anything, but a system of absolute monarchy where the sociopathic cousin of a previously benign monarch can legitimately seize power through a crude combat trial is vastly...
Oh, okay.
What you got?
Black Panther.
Yeah! Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I was dancing around, I was thinking it was something like Robin Hood or something like that. That's the direction I was going in, but yeah, I got it.
Combat trial. That's a good one too.
Hey look. Traditions are important, okay?
It's true. Okay. So, I also have a clarification station.
Okay.
So, I missed a fact that like you would have appreciated very much, even though you've never seen the Fabelmans. I got a heartbreaking. You didn't mention John Ford was played by David Lynch in Meet the Fabelmans.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So, did you see the movie?
I have not. I need to. I really want to. I don't know. I remember like humming and hawing about it whenever it was like out in the cinema, and I really regret not seeing it now. So yeah.
It could be a non-cinema. I mean, that's not true because like he does his own shot. You fucked it up.
Like, there's so few. I mean, like it's one of the things I now, probably whenever I was trying to be like cooler and edgier in terms of my film preferences would have been like not as keen on seeing Spielberg stuff, but like it's such a mistake, and I now like for every film that he puts out from now on, I will guarantee you I will be there. I will see that movie in the theater.
Yeah, I will say like he's an executive producer on so many things.
Yes.
That it's like at some point you have to draw a line, but that one that was like it was just his childhood story where he told you and bared his soul about why he made movies and his parents' divorce. So like you didn't miss much. I know. I like everything. Like I know so much about the movie as well. This is the thing. Like I know so much about it. I know that like Seth Rogen cocked his dad
things like that, so I have like so many elements of that film that I know about, but I just, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
it's okay.
I'll rectify it.
Yeah. Or not, no one's judging.
Or not. I mean,
Steven
both
Spielberg
are equally
is like,
possible.
I was gonna come and hang out, but now I'm not. We were gonna be at Stonehenge together, but you have not seen my what do they call it?
Magnum opus.
Thank you. I was like Magnum, and then I started thinking about ice cream. Anyways, okay. Do you want to get into this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So our movie this week is Days of Heaven. So our second in our Terrence Malick series, and actually his second movie chronologically.
Mm-hmm. So, just quick synopsis. So this takes place in 1916 in the Texas Panhandle. Do you guys know what a panhandle is? It's like the shape. It's like a land shape, and it looks like a pan with a handle.
Yes.
So, farm country, I'll say. So Bill and Abby, a young couple who, to the outside world, pretend to be brother and sister, as you do, are living and working in Chicago at the beginning of the century. They want to escape the poverty and hard labor of the city and travel south. Together with the girl Linda, who acts as a narrator in the movie, they find employment in a farm in the Texas Panhandle. When the harvest is over, the young, rich, and handsome farmer invites him to stay because he has fallen in love with Abby. When Bill and Abby discover that the farmer is seriously ill and has only about a year to live, they decide that Abby will accept his wedding proposal in order to make some benefit out of the situation. When the unexpected death fails to come, jealousy and impatience are slowly setting in, and accidents become inevitable. Eventually inevitable. Say that 4 times.
Okay.
And then
Eventually inevitable. Eventually inevitable.
Stop it.
Eventually inevitable.
You're like, I had no
Eventually
problem with that. Oh, it's fine. So yeah. So
there's plenty. Yeah.
Yep. So there's a lot there, and not at all, kind of.
There is. Okay. Why do you think they were pretending to be brother and sister? Like, what was the benefit of that? Because that was one of the things I was trying to get my hands around.
Yeah. So, like, if you were married, or you were like, clearly Richard Gere's character had I don't know if he had some issues, but you couldn't get a job as easily.
Huh.
Or like I remember, like even in the my mom was pregnant with my sister, so this would have been like in the 70s, and she had to hide her pregnancy when they were trying to get a mortgage for a house, because if she's pregnant, then she can't work, right? They're assuming. And so they weren't going to give her so it was definitely like, it's like that would be an issue, because she could get pregnant probably and then not be able to
It's
work.
basically a calculation of, if you're a single man, you're much more likely to stay here and keep working.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually wrote down, because in terms of Richard Gere has issues, I wrote, "Are dumb sexy leading men a Malick trademark?" Not leading men, like, are like dumb sexy men, like kind of as core characters.
They're not even.
A Malick
they're
trademark?
not even dumb. It's just like the significant choices that they make are significant choices.
They are.
They're not like he's yeah. So, that's a good question. I guess we'll have to keep learning as we watch more of these movies.
I guess we'll find out. I mean, we'll certainly gonna find. I mean, like I feel like there's gonna be some dumb sexy men in Thin Red Line and
yes,
Tree of Life as well, for sure.
Yep. One can only hope.
One can only hope. So, this. Get this, guys. Right? It's gonna blow your mind. Week 2. The person who directed this was Terrence Malick.
What?
Right?
What?
I know. So I hope everybody was seated there when I expressed that news. I should have said ahead of time, but I didn't. It's on me. So I just been chatting a little bit about where Malick was. at the time, like, obviously we're talking about him for like 4 different weeks here. So what's interesting with this film is obviously he got this off the back of Badlands being fairly successful, certainly for a small budget film, and he was able to get it made. He was able to get this film made under his full control by guaranteeing the budget and taking personal responsibility for overages and things like that. So like it was basically that's why it's so singular a film, I think, in a lot of ways. Like we'll talk about this in detail as we go on here. He wanted to shoot primarily in natural light. The vast majority of the film was shot in golden hour.
Yeah.
So which obviously made things more difficult. But the production itself was kind of rife with issues, and the actual final product, they spent 2 years editing this movie before they came up with a releasable film.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long time to be editing a movie.
I can't. I mean, based on the different shots that he had, it's like, and this is part of the reason I love the movie. It's like, you know, there's like it's like they had a we call it soft shoe dancing, where like someone would throw a plywood, 4x8, and they were just dancing on it. And this guy was dancing with a little girl, and like it doesn't move the plot forward at all, but it's beautiful to look at. And like they're in these wheat fields, and you had all these gorgeous shots of animals just like living in the wheat and dealing with whatever was happening in nature and fire, and like they're cutting the wheat fields, and you see all these like frightened pheasants and like peacocks everywhere and like skunks, and none of it moved the story forward, but it was so beautiful to look at. And I don't even know it was on the cutting room floor. I care. I care.
I'm sure there's some there's just, I think, same with Badlands, like it is so achingly beautiful all the way through. Like some of the shots are just absolutely like most of the shots are absolutely staggering, and it really indulges in them and spends time with them in a way that I really love. I think that it's so interesting, because I don't know whether the folks listening at home know this, but like this is my first kind of this series has been my first exposure to Terrence Malick's movies. And it's so interesting seeing his influence on other movies that I love and other filmmakers that I love,
I was hoping you would have that response.
Absolutely.
And not be like, this is shit.
No, I mean, like, I think I have issues with it. Like, I think that it is, there is not a ton of plot. There's not a ton of character development. There's this sort of like lazy, sort of whimsical sort of like flow to it that I kind of, I do love this because I feel like I do love elements of it, I should say, because I feel like a lot of films are in such a rush to get through the plot that you really lose a lot of these sort of intimate moments. And I think based on these first 2 movies, and in this I think especially even more so than Badlands, it's almost entirely these sort of like quieter, more intimate moments, or is what makes up the kind of bulk of the film.
Yeah. I also, like, so we watched Badlands, and that had a female narrator. And this had a female narrator who was a child. And so I think part of the story development, right, you're not limited by, it's almost like it's the opposite. You get to hear her take on what she thinks hell is like, and like what everything's gonna burn and people are gonna be screaming, and like all the stuff that's going on with her brother and his girlfriend / sister, and like just trying to figure out the rhythm of once they end up, like, she's married, they're living there, like the rhythm of having money and what that's like from her perspective. It was for me, that was like a perfect element of it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the actress that played the little girl later.
Yes, who was wonderful, like, really, I mean, like, and so, sometimes whenever they put in people with, strong accents or things like that, it feels like it's a kind of cheap way to build kind of like, I suppose, atmosphere, or like, I guess I'm gonna put this in like British sort of terms, like a working class kind of atmosphere,
Yeah.
you know, like, whereas this felt authentic in a quite a kind of earned way, I think, you know. So yeah, I thought that was great.
So I'm gonna give you an idea of who wrote this, what it's based on. I don't know if you guys know the writer Terrence Malick, but he wrote this.
What?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Terry. So it's really, he gives so few interviews that it's hard to pull this information from my mind palace. But I'm gonna quote him because I can't tell it better than he can. He speaks like he's like writing a screenplay kind of. So he said, "It was in Austin, Texas that I had the idea for Days of Heaven. I found myself alone for a summer in the town I'd left when I was a high school student. There were those green, undulating hills and the very beautiful Colorado River. The place inspired. It was inspiring. And there, the film came to me all together." Which, like, how? Why? Based on what? Like, that you don't just have these characters come out of your brain. I had not liked working at the Harvest Time. I have very good memories of it, of wheat and the comings and the goings in the fields and all the people that I met. They were mostly petty criminals who were on their way to Phoenix, Arizona or Las Vegas for the rest of the year. As for the title, it is a feeling that a place exists that is within reach and where we will be safe. It is a place where a house will not rest on the sand, where you will not become crazier by fighting again and again against the impossible. And I was like, oh, Terrence, this is so beautiful. So then I dug a little deeper, and apparently, because he won't tell you this, or he's sworn to secrecy. So, but he let something out to someone. So basically, the screenplay is loosely based on the Milady backstory featured in the Three Musketeers. So in the Dumas novel, Milady was originally born, Anne de Buell, sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, and became a thief with her lover, a priest, who had renounced his orders. On the run, they pretended to be brother and sister and hide in the village, and she ends up seducing and marrying for her own interests the local nobleman. So yeah, basically that's kind of where he found the motivations for the characters.
Interesting.
But in his own very clearly different way.
Because I think, you know, it isn't, if I'm trying to think of other movies that have a similar sort of idea, but it is certainly something that, like a plot point, whereas it's like, pretend to marry this person in order to, you know, get their riches or to get access to something or whatever, is such a, like, maybe common's the wrong word, but it's something, like a plot point that I've seen in a lot of movies, you know. And like, you know, again, you know, it's tough for me as well just to kind of know how big an influence this was on those sorts of things as well, you know, those sorts of like concepts. Okay, so the music so was done by Ennio Morricone. That's right, isn't it? That's a good pronunciation of his name.
Please let us know if we're wrong.
Yeah, Italian people can let us know. So
we know these names matter. It's just
it's tough.
You know, we don't.
Like I try.
Phonetically.
I try to get Sassy Bates' name right, but you know, I'm struggling with. Anyway, an absolute icon. I mean, like I say, there's some people who don't know who this is, but he is truly an iconic film composer. Who did work with westerns a lot. I think that's where the vast majority of his work came from initially.
Did he do the good, the bad, and the ugly?
He did. Like so much, like so many songs, so many of his pieces in particular, like stand the test in time and stand outside of the films that they were made for, you know. And I think the Days of Heaven soundtrack is a really good example for that, because like as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, where did they take this from? And what they took it from is that he made it for this movie, and because it became so iconic, the core piece for this movie is so iconic that it just took a life of its own. It's just absolutely wonderful. But yeah, I absolutely fantastic score, really beautiful, and I think the right level of something like that could be overwhelming and like kind of like flatten the rest of the picture, but it's just used kind of deployed really kind of effectively and is just absolutely fantastic. It was also the first time he got an Oscar nomination for this movie as well.
Is that the only one he's gotten? I can't remember. I feel like I read something
I think
like that.
he won one eventually.
So there was an opening song by a composer named Sasson. I think I'm saying that right. And it's from the Carnival of Animals, and this was the Aquarium. You guys go listen to it. It's one of the most hauntingly beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard, and it's like I had forgotten how many times like I've seen this movie where the music is so overwhelming. Like I get the like music nostalgia where I remember like where I was sitting, what I was eating, who I was sitting next to kind of thing. And I was like, oh man, I watched this movie like when I was like 9, which I didn't quite understand what was happening. And I obviously watched it since then, but I just remember that being like such a beautiful piece. And then I remember like being like, oh my God, we have this on vinyl. And so I would put that on and like dance around the house and dust or whatever.
So he did win an Oscar. He got one of those like honorary Oscars, which is like a fuck we need to give. But he then actually did win one later on for The Hateful Eight because he did some work with Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
But I think that I don't really remember that score, but like I think that was probably one of those ones where it was like we need to give this guy an Oscar. He has done so much fucking excellent work that
does that count? Like, are you like Oscar winner, or is it like honorary PhD, where like you don't actually get to call yourself doctor?
But I mean, you could say the same thing about Scorsese in that way, in that like he won his Oscar for The Departed, which is a good movie, but like it is far from his best movie, and like it was very much one of those ones where it was like we need to give this guy an Oscar, you know.
And I do like that one, and I feel it was based on like a Japanese story.
Yes, it's a really
of these
really
two
awesome
men that are like fighting, but there's like a wall in between them. It's a concept.
I have seen the I think it's Hong Kong movie, the original, and it's really wonderful, really really good movie. They're both good movies, honestly, but it's not, I don't know. He should his shelves should be filled with Oscars, to be honest with you.
I mean,
but
yeah. I can't agree with you more there. Okay. So Sam Shepard was in this movie, who before this movie came out, everyone knew him as a playwright more than an actor. And then they were like, oh my God, he's so hot. And like playing a guy who's dying, and he's doing it like so well and so peacefully. And, he plays, I really enjoyed his character. I enjoyed how honestly like there was so little and I'll get into this a little bit more later, but there's so little dialogue in this movie. And I guess like you can't, maybe that's one of the reasons that you were thinking like, it moves slowly and there's not a lot of like character development, but I feel differently about that, I guess. Let's fight. But like I feel like there was so much character development, and like him falling in love and then realizing like something's up with this brother and sister couple, and then like, oh, I'm not dying because I'm in love with her and she's saving my life, and to then like, oh, I'm gonna burn it all down, right? That's like, and he said like 4 words, not really, but kind of through the whole thing. I thought he was amazing. Richard Gere was in this. He
also
great. I think this was his. Something happened. He was in another movie that I think came out after this, or no, it doesn't matter. Before, whatever.
But this was his big break. It
was, and technically it was his first movie, but I think because of the 2-year editing process, it came out after his second movie.
Okay.
Whatever, doesn't matter. So Linda Manns plays the little girl, and I have to quote our friend Terrence here because he said of Mance, she is, and I'm just going to say, like, she is so striking in this movie. Like, her accent is amazing. Her portrayal of you know, a young migrant worker just trying to make sense of the world around her that makes no sense, right? Especially when, like, your brother is, like, dating someone and he's like, now she's your sister. And she's like, what? Like, she looks tiny. She, you know, she could have been, like, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So he said, Linda, the teenage girl, is the heart of the film. So in real life, she was sort of a street child we discovered in a laundromat.
Wow.
As you do. For the role, she should have been younger, but as soon as I spoke to her, I found in her the maturity of a 40-year-old woman. Non-judgmental and left to her own imagination, she had her own ideas for the role, giving the impression of having actually lived this life instead of having to invent and play within another. At first, it was a bit frustrating to work with her. She couldn't remember lines, couldn't be interrupted, and was difficult to photograph, which, like, I disagree with. I thought, and maybe he means the camera, but I think she's, like, was unfortunately one of the most like,
photogenic.
Just absolutely, yes. So despite this, I started to love her and believed in her more than anything else. She transformed the role. I'm glad that she's the narrator. Her personality shines through the film's objectivity. Every time I gave her her new line, she interpreted it in her own way. When she refers to heaven and hell, she says that everyone is bursting into flames. It was her response to the film on the day when she saw the rushes. That comment was included in the final version. Linda said so many things that I despaired being unable to keep them. I feel like I have not been able to grasp a fraction of who she really is.
Oh, nice.
Are you good? No, Andy's gonna sneeze.
Oh,
He does that when he's emotional. Everybody.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
He's gonna cry, so he sneezes instead.
No, like I say, I found her very kind of like, she felt authentically real in a way that, you know, oftentimes they're trying to go for authentically real and it feels manufactured, and she did not feel like that, you know, and I thought that was really great. I also, who I thought was Brooke Adams, the kind of the sister wife girlfriend. Sister wife girlfriend. Sister wife girlfriend. I thought at first, because I didn't get a good look at her, and then I saw her doing the whatever they were like stacking the hay bales and things like that. I thought it was Karen Allen for a long time, for like a while, and then I was like, oh no, it's absolutely not, because she like got that big sort of wide Karen Allen smile and things like that. But an actress I'd never seen before, but I thought, you know, she did a great job here as well. It's just, and somebody was like, well, why? She feels like somebody else who would have had a massive career, but apparently just kind of hit a point where she was like done with Hollywood and kind of moved away and married what do you call him? Monk.
Really?
The guy that played Monk. Yeah.
She married the guy like the guy from Men in Black.
Yeah.
That gets his head shot off?
Yes, he is in Men in Black. Yeah.
What does he say? Like, do you know how much that fucking hurts? As he's growing his head back. Okay. Ha! You know I love that, Sandy. That's a good one.
Right.
Good. Good. Sorry, I interrupted you.
But she was fantastic, absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I mean, like, this is the thing, like, everybody's great in it, and like, and everybody's like, you know, gets it, like, it's so. And I suspect, you know, this is kind of what I thought going in, and I was like wondering what my reaction would be to it, but it's so like vibes based, you know, like it's like Malick just seems to be all vibes, and hey, I'm totally cool with that, you know. You know, I've talked a little bit, you know, recently about my attention span struggling just generally, and it's not just with anything in particular or any one thing, but I definitely struggle to keep my attention on this in a lot of ways, but like, because it was so like visually arresting, it was like it just drew my eye constantly. But yeah, it definitely was a tough one to stay to keep myself in it, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't have that problem with Badlands.
Mm-hmm.
I had that problem with this film, and this film, it, like, critically, it's, I don't know if, I mean, they're both amazing films, but this, I think people remember more. It's kind of, I've read somewhere, and we'll see, with the next two movies that we watch that I don't think I've seen yet. This is a more straight movie.
Yes.
And so we'll see, you know.
I'm not dreading it, but like the Thin Red Line is twice as long as this film nearly. And I'm a little bit worried about that, because like if it is also similarly as meandering and kind of like plotless, it's gonna be, I may have a tough time with it, but I'm also kind of excited to finally see it, because I do have friends who I remember seeing it at the time and loved it, and like, rave about it still to this day. So
I'm also an American, so I need to know like what that means, because everyone's driving around with like thin red lines on their flags, on their stickers, on their trucks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So I kind of I get a sense of what it means. We also have blue lines, which is representing the police. Anyways, so I'm excited about it. I love war movies that destroy my heart. So I do. It's weird.
I hear you. Yeah.
So one thing I loved about this that I also loved about Badlands is, again, like the dialogue. I couldn't predict the dialogue at all.
Yes.
And it was just like, why are they like, they talked like not normal people, but kind of with the whimsy and the dreamlikeness that I loved about Badlands a little bit. So I guess like there's this website that I go to just so I can look at a couple of pages of the screenplay of whatever we're watching, because I just, how is it put together? And literally, like, there's so much dialogue in the screenplay, there's so much direction. He throws it out in this. So it says, after a short time, Terrence Malick threw out the script altogether and allowed the actors to find the story as production went on. So I think they were just ad-libbing everything.
Okay.
Which,
yeah,
I'm cool with it.
I have such respect for that, truly. Like, and I think that, it's so risky, it's so dangerous as a filmmaker to do that, because you may end up with something unwatchable, and this certainly is not that, but like, it's kind of wild. I suppose especially it's like, whenever you have like such a strong foundation in these like stunning cinematography, stunning shots and things like that, you have a bit more leeway in terms of like, the story that you're trying to tell.
Yeah. So I guess there were two cinematographers on this movie. So Nestor Almendros, sorry, was going blind during production.
Whoa.
So before each shot, he would have his assistants take a picture with a Polaroid camera and then would view it under a high-powered magnifying glass. So, like, the amount of effort that went into those shots, Andy.
Yeah. It's
like, thank God for Polaroids and magnifying glasses and Nestor, who was amazing. So, and I think, I don't know quite what happened, because I didn't dig too far into this, but he was replaced with somebody else. I don't know if it was because he was going blind, but I think what was happening was that you had mentioned that this was largely filmed during the golden hour. So I guess the golden hour that's a lie. It's a golden 25 minutes.
Oh, really?
So trying to shoot all this stuff in a 25-minute time frame every day, I don't think that the cinematographer could handle that level of unknown. And so they brought somebody else in that could kind of be like, yeah, we're just going to see what the day brings and work with whatever happens. Which, like, it's so expensive. This movie only cost $3 million, but that's so expensive to do when, like, every second is, like, $3,000 or whatever. I don't know, with inflation. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Or what it was then. But he really went off instinct with this, and I think it drove him crazy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, the thing about this, in terms of looking into his kind of life and things like that, is that he essentially didn't make another film for 20 years after this, walked away from Hollywood altogether, moved to Paris and basically disappeared, and it would be, it's a wonder whether it was this film that kind of did that to him in a lot of ways, whether it was like, both his choices in terms of he was the one who was making the film, but, It sounds like it was a tough experience.
It for sure. Yeah. I thought I wrote this down somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Apparently it was not interesting enough, but it would have been interesting to you right now, but never mind. Okay. So
do you have any other bits and pieces?
I sure do. I sure do, as always. So there's a big scene where do you guys have locusts?
No, but we might have, but I don't think they're as big a problem as they are for, I know, farmers in the US.
Yeah, so this is like pre-agricultural department that was like, you need, like we had the Dust Bowl. I think this was kind of like around the time that they were like, you can't just grow and grow and grow and keeps taking all the nutrients out of the land, but we would also get locust infestations, which is like millions of bugs that come and eat your crop in like 2 days. So this is shot at the end of the movie, and it's incredible, just like seeing how many bugs are everywhere. And so the shot of locusts ascending to the sky was shot in reverse with a helicopter crew that was throwing peanut shells down, and the actors were walking backwards. Terrence Malick was so exhausted after this experience. Oh, here we go. I did do the thing I meant to do. After this experience of making and completing this film that he retreated to Paris with his girlfriend. It would be 20 years before he made another film. I don't know if it was the peanut shells or there's another one. Hold on.
It looked amazing.
I know, right?
Because I was like, how did he film? How did he manage to come across a locust?
Yeah.
A swarm, but no, apparently.
Yep. Yeah, you used peanut shells. So in an interview conducted with the Criterion Collection DVD edition of the film in 2007, Richard Gere speaks of the shot in the film during the wheat fire where they're trying to they're trying to burn the locusts, but like the farmer has realized that something's that the brother and sister are in love, and that becomes a whole thing. But there's there's the wheat fire. There's a tractor that's like monstrous. It's on fire. It's rolling, driven through the flames. Yes. According to Gere, director Terrence Malick was the driver.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
It's nuts.
I know, right? So, okay, this one hurt my heart. There are only 2 70mm prints of this film in existence. One is available for exhibition. The other has never been allowed to leave Paramount's vaults. Blown up to 70mm for the re-release, these prints were accidentally lost when a Paramount in-house memo requested that surplus copies of Days of Thunder from 1990 be destroyed and was misinterpreted.
Wow.
So if this was you that got fired for this mistake, please let us know, and we want to talk to you about what that was like.
It's quite the difference. Days of Thunder, Days of Heaven is
yeah.
need to be more careful with that.
I know.
That's wild.
And then I got one more. So there's it's this beautiful prairie. There's a little lake sometimes depending on the time of year. There's a farmhouse that's gorgeous, but you just think of it, they build the facade of the house for films, and you just shoot interiors and the soundstage and exteriors outside of so unusually for most films, the main mansion that forms the backdrop to the drama was not a facade, but it was a fully fleshed out house with rooms authentically furnished and decorated.
Cool.
Yeah. So just good on you, Terrence Malick.
I suppose that's the benefit of just having one location, one sort of place you're mostly filming in, so you can actually afford to do it right.
Yeah,
and it did look great.
It did. So so those are the facts that I have.
Love it. Okay.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not done.
Okay, one more.
Okay. I didn't think that the ending was right.
The ending was wild. It just kind of ends.
Yeah, everyone dies basically. And they're floating down the river. It's back to, so in Badlands we learned that Terrence based a lot of that story on Huck Finn, all the Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, like the stories of like you're in nature and like hijinks and all that kind of stuff. And it felt like this, they were back on the river, they had a boat this time, but they were living in nature at the very end. And then, yeah, shit goes down. They figured out that, you know, they're murderers and they shoot him. The little girl's response to him being shot was just like, it was so, I rewound it actually. I watched it like 3 times because I was like, it wasn't overdone. It was like she was really shocked. She did such a good job.
Yeah.
She should have won an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
But and then he's dead. She's now being watched by her sister, his ex-girlfriend or whatever, and she's like, you're going to go to the poor farm, basically, which was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent her to the poor farm and she escaped, and she's just kind of like walking down the railroad tracks talking to this other girl, and that's it.
Then it just ends.
And then it ends. And I was like, that's it? She wasn't there was
no real closure at all. I do kind of like that. I do like the kind of open-ended nature of it, honestly. It really kind of tickled me when it just ended. But yeah,
you're like, it's over.
Kind of wild. Yeah, I'd say that like a lot of people would be. Yeah. I feel like I could see how that would be very frustrating for a lot of people, though.
I mean, it wasn't frustrating, but I just feel like I felt bad for him because like if you edit something for 2 years, right? It's like how do you end this thing that you're obsessed with? And I think maybe he just was just like, I'm fucking tired of it.
Yeah, I'm done.
And the whole point of this is that like no matter where they are, like they're moving through life. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so she just keeps doing that. Yeah. And
no, I like, you know,
also,
it's one of the, you know, I think it's so hard to do it, and like I think about, you know, TV shows, especially successful ones, and them trying to figure out a way to do it successfully, and I think it's impossible to satisfy everyone, and I kind of like that choice of just going, well, this is just where the story ends. There's no like conclusion. There is kind of a conclusion in terms of like the story that kind of drives the movie, but apart from that, it's just like, yep, we're done. See ya, bye.
Although it was hugely satisfying to see like children smoking cigarettes throughout the whole thing, and just like walking down the train tracks, like talking about, you know, smoking cigarettes and hanging out. And I was like, okay. So one other thing, Linda Mance, she passed away in it doesn't matter. She made it to 59 years old. She was 4'10". So,
okay.
Yeah, she was a tiny, tiny, tiny human.
Yeah.
She had 3 kids. She had a grandchild. She died of lung cancer and pneumonia. So, like, pretty sure she probably got addicted to cigarettes from filming this movie. And that was probably part of her demise.
I think my mom's 4'10". I think
serious?
It's around that.
I believe that.
It's about that.
Where'd you come from?
Who knows? Who knows? Okay, shall we get into our final few wee sections?
Yes.
So first of all, Tuta Jet the Fit, who had the best outfits in the movie. I think it was a tough one for me because I was like kind of like blown away by how good, as like a iterant worker, how good Richard Gere's outfits were. But I think it has to be what did you call him? The dancer?
Oh, the soft shoe guy?
The soft shoe dancer was just like his
so
great outfit, great style, great soft shoe work, just like, you know, it was wonderful. You know,
I would agree.
Great outfit.
I would agree. So I read that the costume designer for this, like, used all used clothes to make the clothes.
Nice.
Because, you know, they would stylize things and you would know, like, someone made this in a studio or whatever. So she's like, nope, you get all the crappy outfits and like they're all dirty because that's where they came from. So it worked.
And as it should be, and I think it did feel like lived in a really nice way. Okay, so Andy's Animal Acting Award for excellence in animal acting.
Hard.
Lots of contenders.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it has to go to the Locusts. Great formation work, guys.
Yes.
He's really killing it. Great coordination, great.
The build of suspense, they did a good job.
Oh yeah, truly our finest actors.
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
For me, I think House of Cuba
Yeah, no, I co-sign. I like the startled-looking pheasants that were in the grasses too.
Yes,
when they were like,
too.
cutting the wheat, they were like, ah, burger, or whatever they say.
Some good dog work as well.
Oh yes,
but yeah.
No,
So,
agreed.
But okay, so Beth, as for Days of Heaven, would you revisit, remember, refuse, or redo?
I mean, I have revisited this movie so many times. I know that there are parts that are, I just, for all of the things that we said that were negative, like the positives are so positive that I can't not love it. I will always love this movie. I will always revisit this movie. Who haven't seen this movie, please just check it out. Just like literally give it 5 minutes and you'll be like in. Give it 2 and you'll be in. Yeah,
I think ultimately for me, I land and remember. Like I haven't seen it before, but like I think that it's so unique, and it does my favorite thing. It's just over an hour and a half, which I kind of love. I'm obviously a big fan of that, but like it feels so distinct in terms of I can see why, despite maybe not setting the box office alight, he was really seen as a kind of rising star for that kind of generation of filmmakers because like his voice is so distinct. And I think from that point of view, if you haven't seen this before, it's definitely worth a look. I mean, it's beautiful looking. Like you just don't see cinematography like this in many other people's work at all. So it's definitely something to see. I think you need to see it once. I think, maybe in years to come, whenever my attention span is better, this will be something I revisit. But as for right now, I think I'm going to land and remember.
That's okay. I'll forgive you for that.
Sure. Years from now, you'll forgive me.
No.
Yeah.
Dear diary, Andy. Andy said, "Remember, not revisit." No, I get it. I absolutely understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. But like again, I'm glad I watched it, and like I think that I was like, that kind of going into this, I was like, oh god, am I gonna like, is this gonna be a real trudge for me? Like, but I have absolutely enjoyed the first 2 movies 100%. I think the next 2, as his work gets longer and more ponderous, are going to be a struggle for me. Yeah. But I'm still keen to see what they're actually like.
Yeah, me too. And like, I know nothing about the Tree of Life. Like, I know nothing. I'm not going to look into it. I just want to be completely surprised. The Thin Red Line, like, I've seen the cast. I feel like one of the guys played like Jesus in.
Oh, it's Jim Caviezel. Yeah. It's the guy who has went like super. He's in all directions.
I love God.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to only make movies about God where I play Jesus or something.
He did that one a few years back where he was that kind of right wing movie, Sound of Freedom, that was like enormous, and it was like this guy rescuing children from like child trafficking and things like that. But like yeah. Yeah. One of those ones that secretly was like a massive hit, but like it's only a massive hit for churchgoers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, kids, it's Sunday school. Let's learn about child trafficking. Sorry.
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Would you work as a migrant?
Probably. I mean, like, it's still...
I think you would enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, I probably would enjoy the kind of, like, travel and things like that. I mean, like, I would... And seeing different things. I think... I mean, like, I have, I suppose, done the modern version of that work, which is, like, I've went to Australia and done farm work, So, like, I've done similar-ish things, And I quite enjoyed it. But, like, I think it would get old fast. And if I had to depend on it to live, I would probably get... quite annoyed with it quite quickly.
And to not have like I don't know. I was just curious. I don't know if I would. But it's like if you don't have a choice and you just do what you have to do, then you're like, you're my brother. I'll marry the farm owner.
Yeah.
And get a dog. Anyways.
Weird.
Okay. So next movie that's up is Tree of Life.
No. Next movie is The Thin Red Line.
Line. Okay, and then after
And then
that,
we're gonna do
Tree of Life. So please, if you want to watch along, and send us any, just whatever. We love hearing your thoughts and feelings about everything that we're doing.
Yeah,
so.
if you've got a spare 3 hours kicking around, just stick on the Thin Red Line. See you get on with it.
You're here listening. You could do worse and you could do better.
Right, exactly. Multitasking. Okay, so Beth, what has been bringing you joy this week?
Yeah.
So
I started reading a paper book.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And I've carved out. It's hard.
It is.
It's really hard. I want to be like my middle school, high school self, where I would get my grated cheese bowl and like my apple juice boxes and just like go and disappear for like 4 hours into like the nether world of whatever book. So I've carved out certain things where I know I can just sit and read, and some of them are like Harper's in dance class, and so I sit in the hall for like 45 minutes and I force myself. It's so good. So our top fan recommended a book called Easy Riders and Raging Bulls.
Yep.
And it's all about like Hollywood gossip in like the 60s. It's fascinating. There's like passages where I'm like, God damn it, I don't have a pen because I need to underline this quote or this thing made so much sense. Also, I don't know if it's because we changed our topic and picked something that people are, more aligned with, but I've had just some friends reach out and just say like, I'm listening, I love it.
Nice.
Apparently I say like too much.
Yeah, I think we both do.
So I was like, Marianne, we're both Valley girls. You can't change us.
That's right.
And, AI can edit out the likes, but like we don't do that shit.
I don't know if a lot of you won't see the video side of things, but Beth and I both have our hair out and are like curling it with one finger as we talk as well. That's right.
And then after this, I'm going to the mall.
Yeah, and we are chewing gum and we've got like big cups of drink.
I don't know. Caramel macchiatos.
There we go. Thank you.
Or matcha.
Or pumpkin spice latte at a certain time of year.
That's right.
As well. Okay. So you did joy, right?
Yeah, that's my joy.
Yeah, you said paper book. You did. Yep. So what's been bringing me joy is just yoga again. Like I've just been able to like indulge my own practice a little bit more recently, which has been really nice because I think I had like dropped out of it. My friend's studio has reopened in a new place, and it's been lovely kind of getting back to it and just seeing it from the different angle that I normally do, which is which is work.
Yeah.
So it's been really lovely.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I've gotten back into it because if I go to a class, someone will tell me what to do, and I won't be like, I just want to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I lay on my mat and think about it, that's just the same thing. It's not.
Yes.
So I'm glad that and it is a personal thing.
Yes.
And when you turn it into a job, then yeah, it's like that's always the fear is like you'll lose the love of it. So no one ever pay us for this podcast because then it'll feel like work. Just kidding. Pay us for this podcast. Good. That makes me happy. That brings me joy.
See?
That brings your joy. Brings
Hooray.
me
joy. Joy.
Down
Okay.
in my heart.
So before we get to our last our goodbyes, at least anyway, Beth, could you let everybody know where they can find us?
You can find us at movietestofTime.com. We locked that shit down. I think I paid like $5 for that URL.
Hell yeah.
And I'll charge someone else $100,000 to take it over. But so you find us there. I think I've updated everything. You can still access our old Bendy podcast episodes from the website. I've linked to it so you can get still, if you want to hear about sweets or folklore in both of our countries, that's an option also. But we're all over the place, as Movie Test of Time. Find us.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. So then, folks, we've reached the end of this week's episode. And yeah, we'd just like to wish you a fond goodbye. And see you next time.
See you next time. Send us movie ideas. And also,
Please.
if you have like things that brought you joy this week. I had someone that was like, Miller's Crossing brought me joy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is epic and awesome. So if you have any joy you would like to share, please just shoot us a message.
Don't give us the hi-hat.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Please don't. Okay.
Don't give us
All right. We love you.
We love you. Bye, 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 bye.